Hey, it's Dr. Amanda with Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com, and more of our risk management for general dentists and primary care dentists and pediatric dentists in orthodontics. Again, this is stuff you guys should know anyways. This is just going to have a small orthodontic twist to it, but you guys should know all this stuff. But I'm just going to go over it. Okay, so this is a three-part question. First of all, who is covered in an orthodontic lawsuit? Number one. Two, who determines the standard of care? And three, how do you get out of it? So I'm going to hit all of these just because all of this is going to play into the series of content that I'm going to make, specifically going into the different types of litigation that you see in orthodontics. This is really interesting to me. Like, to be honest, I have seriously thought about going back to law school. I love being in school. I know I'm crazy. I've looked into applying to law school to do law to defend dentists. I mean, I'd be phenomenal at that. My whole family has a bunch of attorneys, so it's something I've thought about. Don't need hand skills to do that. For those of us who don't like to use our hands, and just like to talk. But yeah, I'm pretty young. I could still do it. But anyways, for now, I'll just make a lot of content on it. So, in any case, who's covered in an orthodontic lawsuit? Let's go there. So whoever's covered is, well, whoever holds the insurance. So the dentist that holds the insurance, that dentist, the owner dentist who owns the insurance. If you have 1099s, they're not covered. If you have an employee, an associate, they're covered if they were named, as well as your staff. That's all employees. They're covered, but they probably won't be directly sued because they're staff. That's not their job. But your office could be sued. So your office, you yourself, and any employees that are W-2s, your 1099s are under their own stuff. Okay, so number two, let's see. But one thing I wanted to add, this kept coming up in all the lectures that I've listened to. Again, everyone who I just named are only covered if they are practicing within the scope of the State Dental Practice Act. So they kept saying this over and over again, and I knew all this stuff. That, let's say, for example, you have to know your laws in your state, and they're constantly changing. I mean, they can be changed at a drop of the hat, and you may not. I mean, I know in my states where I'm licensed, they will send an alert out when something changes, but sometimes I don't see it, sometimes I don't read it. So you need to pay attention to know what the rules are, what the Dental Practice Act is, and everything like that. There's always a section just for ortho about what an assistant can do, what the doctor can do, what the hygienist can do, and it changes, right? So if they are doing something outside their Dental Practice Act, whether they were told to do it or not told to do it, whether they're employee or not, well, if they're not, they're not covered. But if they are an employee, let's say a hygienist was placing bands. Don't know if they can place bands. They probably can, but they may not be able to. Some states, I mean, I hope you're not even using bands. Why are you using bands? I mean, nowadays with everything that's 3D printed and placed on top and is removable, there's no reason to be doing stuff that an assistant can't do. That's what I'm trying to get at. Pick your appliances wisely. If you're choosing fixed, and you better look at your Dental Practice Act in your state and follow the rules. That's not my job. Okay, that's your attorney's job and your liability insurance job. So talk to them if you're not sure, but read your own Dental Practice Act and don't just ask ChatGPT to tell you, because it's on you to make sure that the AI is reading stuff right. Okay, so must be following your Dental Practice Act. If they are doing something they're not supposed to do, e.g. placing braces, if they're not supposed to do it, and you guys get sued, they getting sued. And you know what? If you're a staff member listening to this is your job to say, nope, this is not what I'm supposed to do. And to be honest, I worked in plenty of offices where the office managers wouldn't supply us the right amount of staff that were trained adequately, and it was always an issue for me. And as someone who is now profoundly neurodivergent and likes to be a rule follower, it was an issue for me, and which is part of the reason why I just said, you know what, I'd rather just do this instead. So because it is honestly almost impossible to be profitable in fixed ortho nowadays, given the Dental Practice Acts, the lab fees, and the overhead and the staff time. It's just not. So unless you're going to drive yourself crazy doing all the doctor stuff yourself. So removable is completely different story. So, all right. Third part is how do you get out of it? Okay, this one's going to be a little bit more complicated. So let's see. Standard of care. Let's talk about that. Standard of care. So if something happens, basically what's going to happen is it's going to either be sent to a panel I'm going to not go into just the insurance complaints because insurance complaint isn't really a real thing. I mean, this is just the insurance company. Let's talk about, and we'll dig into this a little bit more, a potential lawsuit or a complaint that might be involved with a lawyer. That's one way it could go, or a dental board regulatory complaint. We're going to go into those two different things more later. But let's just talk about standard of care. They're going to see if you follow the standard of care. Standard of care is, of course, going to come initially from your Dental Practice Act, which is what is written. So you need to make sure you know that backwards and forwards. If you did something outside the standard of care, guess what? You're going to be paying. That's just how it is. So be prepared. Don't try to fight this if you did something outside the standard of care, because you're going to be paying something. So that's just, you know, if you're playing with fire, are you flying too close to the sun to try to get production? Well, just be prepared to pay. So, let's see. Okay, so standard care is not written anywhere besides your Dental Practice Act in your state. It's just an understanding of what other people who do this procedure for a living. So if it's orthodontics, they're going to go to an orthodontist to check the standard of care, which is why, I put a lot of content out there. But do I know the standard care changes? It evolves, and it could depend on where you practice. So it's your job to know your standard of care. Just because I say we do something the way we do it doesn't mean it's your standard of care. So it's your job to know this. So the definition of standard care is what a doctor of similar knowledge and training in your community would have done in similar circumstances. So could be slightly different, if you're, I'm not talking about foreign countries. I'm talking about the US, because that's all I know is our standard of care, right? They're going to expect, if technology exists, they're going to expect that you used it. If you don't own the technology, that's not their problem. That's your problem. There's ways you can access technology. Yeah, you may have to pay more. Yeah, the patient may have to pay more, but sometimes you have to follow the standard of care. So it's based on testimony of expert witnesses. I've been an expert witness in standard of care hearings before, where attorneys have interviewed me and paid me good money. I've done this to figure out standard of care. I don't always know what the outcome is, or I don't know whom I'm defending or not defending, whether I'm the plaintiff or the defendant, but I get interviewed about standard of care all the time. So let's see. Decisions are generally made by judges and juries, unless you guys decide to settle at the beginning once you kind of know what's going on, and the standard care evolves over time. So those are the main things. Let's see what else I need to tell you about that. Okay, so how do you get out of it, and how do you protect yourself? So how you get out of it? Well, obviously being calm is the main thing, and it's hard. I get it. I've dealt with lawyers, not as a practicing dentist, not on a patient, but I've dealt with lawyers with a lot of stuff with my consulting practice, because I have a big mouth, and I realize, even if I'm telling my truth, the truth, my clinical opinion, I now have a big enough following that I can do damage to a company if I say something. So it's hard, because I'm sitting here trying to educate people on how to use a product or what products to use, but then, there's livelihoods that are there. So there's a very delicate step. And what I could say when I first got started 8 to 10 years ago is not necessarily how I can say things later. So I'm learning to say things more properly. But you guys have to do the same thing, right? So how do you get out of it? You stay really calm. First of all, this is why we have attorneys, okay? Don't try to do this yourself. You need to cough up, pony up some money to get help. There's no easy way out. The legal process has to run its course. Of course, the first thing you do is call your liability insurance. You guys are crazy the way you guys don't contact them. You're paying for this service. They have attorneys. And as long as you follow the standard of care, they're going to take care of you. Are you going to get out of it? Not necessarily. But the first thing, of course, is the fee refund. Fee refund is the easiest way out. But what you guys... And a lot of times I get doctors that come to me, should I give a fee refund? I'm like, you need to talk to your liability insurance. I'm not saying what you need to do. But you don't ever do the fee refund without a release and waiver from the patient. Patient got to sign something for a fee refund. And, it's common. You want to make sure they're not going to disparage you on social media, do other stuff. They're not going to go after you later down the road, anything like that. Like, this ends your relationship. They're made whole with their money back, whether or not they deserved it or not, okay? But they're made whole with the money, okay? And you're made whole by getting them out of your life and not having to deal with them anymore. That's how that goes. Fee refund with a waiver. The waiver needs to be written by your liability insurance. Don't try to write your own waiver. Come on, you guys. And I'm not writing waivers for you. So I gladly will talk to you about it from a clinical perspective and whether I think or not something is standard of care. But you got to go to your liability insurance and then their attorneys from there. let's see. Also, other things that I knew that I wanted to share with you is that if you do give the fee refund, it has to be done from a personal check. It cannot be done from your business. I think that there's some issues with that. That might be more of a lawyer question, but that is something that I've understood. So it's a post-tax personal check. And let's see. Refunds that come from an insurance company are reported to the NPDB, the National Practice Data Bank, which could cause a red flag and could cause the state to review it, which could cause an additional regulatory complaint. So the goal is to not have this come from the insurance company or to be issued from your practice, and to be personal, waiver, swept under the rug, we're done, we're all good, it's settled. You know, whether or not this, and you don't necessarily have to admit any guilt or liability. This is how you frame the fee release waiver. Okay, so again, this is lawyer talk. I'm not getting into that stuff, but that's pretty much how you get out of it. Now, if you can't settle this with the fee refund and release and waiver, then it's going to go into the more litigation process. So, you know, ultimately, the goal is to not start a case without doing everything right, checking your boxes, ticking your boxes, and doing things properly. So, all right, we'll go into a little bit more about lawsuits versus regulatory complaints in the next video. Thanks.